Hey guys, and welcome to another vlog. I hope everybody is doing good today. I'm going to give you all a joke to start out with, just for some humor, get everybody going. How do you prevent a summer cold? You catch it in the winter. So there you go. Little joke for you. Now, I know most of you are here for the channel for the scale modeling. These do have minis, it's kind of like modeling, but I was asked to do some special rules for this Zombicide. Invaders, I did some stuff with the Black Plague and Green Horde and came up with some custom rules I call Green Plague. And I have asked to do some video content and publish those rules and take a look at this content and see what I can do in a similar fashion. I've already did a video on the Green Plague rules. I will be doing some playthroughs on that very soon, but I want to get familiar with Zombicide Invaders and combining the content in different ways to come up with a solution. So this is the Kickstarter. It's missing two things. It's missing the Dark Side Extras pack and the token and the dice, but the dice and maybe one survivor pack. I'm not sure. Yeah, the plague pack. So it was told it was going to be a complete Kickstarter, but you know, I understand if some stuff you weren't going to get because of late pledges or things like that. So that's fine. I'm okay with that. I wish I had the Dark Side extras, but it's not there. Now this is not going to be an unboxing. There's hundreds of unboxings on Zombicide of all of these games. I am going to talk about the components and combining them in one game, so you can play Darkside, Invaders, Black Ops, all the extra Xenos they give you, all together in one game, and then coming up with a random set of missions and just, you know, combining the dark zones and the outside zones and the pod zones and adding extra abominations and things like that. So I'm going to talk about the extra stuff that's mostly in the Kickstarter. So if you guys don't have the Kickstarter, I'm sorry. Some of the stuff is available third party. Like this is one of the people. This is a set. Some of these guys right here in the Survivors of the Galaxy came from the Kickstarter. The Babyface Abomination did, so, which is interesting. I'll now have two Babyface Abominations, so that'll be interesting. I'm going to take these character cards out and add them to the other character cards. So basically, I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going to look at every single person when I come up to picking teams and who I think's best for a team for a certain mission or whatnot. I'll talk about that on that specific mission, but I'm going to play through all the scenarios in all three boxes with all the content. It's the driller workers, the regular Xenos, all the extra Xenos, and I'm going to see what happens. All the abominations, you know, the two friendly bad bot things that we'll talk about. And I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see what kind of trouble I can get into. But I'm going to pick my own team. I'm not going to randomize the team like I do with Green Plague. And then later down the road, I'm going to randomize my team, randomize my starting equipment, and see how that changes the difficulty. So, the Xenos Probo pack, the KS10, all these Seekers and these Flyings and these Flingers are all in the civilian extras, so we'll talk about them there. I do have some of these Driller Seekers, only 6 of them. In the Dark Side's extra box, there are, I believe, 10 in there, and I do not have that, so they will go in. I will not put. I have like 8 activation cards for them. I don't believe I'll be using all 8 activation cards with only 6 miniatures. I reached out to the guy I got this from, and he's going to try to get me the Dark Side Extras pack, so I have the complete set of everything I need. So the Driller Seeker guys are probably not gonna make it into the mix in a full force like I would with another unit. Dark Side I've already looked at on the channel, and that video will go up. Black Ops is not like your normal expansion. It basically, gotta open it up. It basically is some tiles, some equipment cards, and some different zombie spawn cards because you have a Juggernaut Abomination. So, and the Juggernaut Abomination is similar to the Obama Bunny and the Minotroll in Black Plague and Green Horde, respectively. You get 2 new bots. You get the Meteor Sentry Gun, which I think is OP, and you get this bot here, which I haven't done any research on. And then you get the Juggernaut, and you get some more trays, so you do up to 12 players. A lot of the times, to increase the difficulty, I'll add 1 or 2 players just to get that extra spawn zone, just to see what happens. So, and you're going to get the spawn cards for the Juggernaut and some new starting equipment. This is mainly for this squad of people. I don't remember what this squad, Blackbird Squad. No, I don't remember what the squad's called. I don't want to say it. But what's interesting about this Black Ops, it introduces what's called a pod room, and this is an active mold space. There's one here, and one here, and it's an active mold space, so things will spawn there. But firing a shot and doing 2 damage at this pod will engulf this whole pod in hellfire and make it an inactive mold zone until a spoiler abomination walks back over it, and then it becomes an active mold zone and an active pod zone. So if you have eyes on this with maybe a bot here, you can, if you have a bot here, this is one large room, if you get spoiler abominations coming down these corridors, because, getting in these sections, you just have a bot here blowing it up every time, with all 3 spots and getting some mad XP and, taking care of abominations with the Hellfire. So, but now in Dark Side, you use what's called seismic grenades to take out the pits, and in Invaders, you use Hellfire to take out the mold. Now, with the rules that are in the book, Hellfire will kill everything in a square and flip a mold to inactive. And a seismic grenade will kill everything in a square and flip a pit to inactive. If you use a seismic grenade in a mold zone, it will kill everything in that zone, but the mold zone remains active. If you use Hellfire in a pit zone, you will kill everything in the pit zone, and the pit zone will remain active. So right there, the equipment is completely usable, mixing the 2 decks. I am basically going to shuffle all the enemy cards together, shuffle all the equipment cards together, pick me a team, and then I'm going to pick a mission from each of these. I'm going to play each mission, and then I'm going to see how it goes. Might have to pull out some of the abominations, because I'm going to show you there's quite a lot of them. Not as many as in Green Horde. Green Horde had an insane amount of abominations, what I love. You never run out of options and things like that. Mainly Invaders comes with your 3 base minis, which, we don't need, there's unboxings of Invader, but I want to talk about the extras and what they bring to the game. Now, in this extras box here, you have yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abominations. You have another babyface abomination. If you got that other pack, you'll have another babyface, which 2 of the same abomination is not bad. They all get extra activations if they're pulled. You get another spoiler abomination, so you can have 2 of those on the field. That's some kind of fun. And then you have what are called. You have a mother-in-law abomination, that every time the mother-in-law abomination zone is targeted by a range attack, and the mother-in-law unit is not eliminated by it, you interrupt the survivor's phase, immediately perform an extra activation with the mother-in-law abomination, and then resume the survivor's phase. This effect can happen several times during the survivor's phase. So you don't kill it, it comes after you. You don't kill it, it comes after you. So you want to make sure you're going to kill it. So you got to kill it first shot. And then that is this one right here. It's that mini right there. And there's other channels that show the minis on little spinning tables and all that. Like I said, there's tons of stuff. I just want to point out the rules because not many people pointed out the rules other than one at a time in one game. Babyface Abomination right here. Whenever the Babyface Abomination is eliminated, all Xenos on the board immediately get an extra activation. That can be bad. You time it right, you'd be fine. Now the Shadow Abomination kind of scares me a little bit because it shares the same targeting priority as Hunters. So you can't, you have to take it out last. And it can only be eliminated with a melee action or an effect that eliminates all actors in a zone, such as Hellfire or Seismic Blast. So that's gonna be tough. Sniper's worthless because it's only melee to take it out. So if you have the sniper skill, it's not gonna do anything for you. So that's gonna be a little hard to kill. Now, the Stomper Abomination. Now, all these Abominations are 1 action each. 3 damage and 3 to destroy. So, and then they give special rules. So, the Stomper Abomination performs a stomp whenever within range 0 of 1 of its destination zone. 0 of its destination zone at the end of the Xenos phase. No line of sight is required. All survivors in the destination zone fall to the ground. Lay down their miniatures. They must spend their next action getting up. Machines are not affected. So it moves, and then the zone it would go to on its next activation within 0 to 2 that has survivors in it. You pick its next location it's going to go. So if it's going to move up 1 square, that square right there is where the stomp's going to happen. So if it can't see you and it sees someone 3 spaces away in a corridor with line of sight, it's going to stomp 2 before that spot. So you're going to be okay. But if you're within 2, it's not going to attack you, but it's going to do the stomp and knock you down. You're going to lose an action. And it's not going to come out in blue, but at least I don't believe these come out in blue. That would be awful if they did. It's going to be, losing actions is never good. You need all the actions you can get. Now you have the Widowmaker Abomination. The Widowmaker Abomination moves up to 2 zones per activation to reach its destination zone. Determine its destination zone before moving it. It moves to get there and doesn't change course if new targets appear on the way. The Abomination still gets 1 action per activation, either moving or attacking. The Widowmaker Abomination attacks wherever it activates with a line of sight to a zone with any survivors at range 0 to 1. Then it performs an attack targeting every zone with any survivors at a range of 0 to 1 within line of sight. Allocate each attack as you see fit. So if you have this down and it has line of sight to 3 zones around it and there's a survivor in each zone, it attacks all 3 zones, 3 damage, and you have to divvy it up. That's a game over scenario. But if you have everybody, you have 3 in one square, 3 in another, everybody takes 1 damage. It's still nasty. And then we have the extra Xenos that are in here. You have some Flingers, which are also in the promo pack, and then you have some Seekers. Seeker Workers, which are in the promo pack also, and also you have these flying Siedel Moths, and we'll talk about these guys. So the Seeker Workers, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you get 9 of these guys, and I believe there's probably about 9 in the other box as well. So 18, that's a good amount of workers, good amount of new units. I believe there's 2, 4, 6, 8. I believe there's 8 in the other box of the Flingers, and I believe there's 8 Moths. So you have about 16 of each extra, which is a good amount for the game. And then you get some more workers here. And then you get a stack of cards that talk about the new bots, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then the Abomination cards. Not any equipment cards, which, There's not a lot of OP equipment except for that pit saw with Goliath. We'll talk about that later. So Flingers, 1 action, deal 1 damage, minimum damage destroys 1, experience points 1, special rules. Flingers share the same targeting priority as workers. Flingers possess enhanced senses skills. They can trace line of sight 1 zone further in room zones. Remember, all Xenos ignore dark rules to trace line of sight. Flingers attack whenever they activate with a line of sight to a zone with any survivor at 0 to 2 range. They perform an attack on the targeted zone. If several zones are eligible, you choose their attack according to targeting priority. Zone with most survivors, the noisiest zone. And then if all eligible, the players choose. So basically, it's going to fling whatever it's got going on here at you at 0 to 2 range. If you played Zombicide, Black Plague, or Green Horde, Deadeye Archers is what they're akin to. Seeker Workers, 1 action, 1 damage, 1 damage to kill, 1 XP. They share the same targeting priority as workers. They do not benefit from worker extra activation cards. All Seeker Workers on the board get an extra activation each time a Seeker Xenos card is drawn. So, if you spawn, and I'll just read the example. At the blue leather level, the players draw their first Xenos during the spawn step. A Seeker Worker card and 2 Seeker Workers are put on the board. The next Xenos card is drawn, another Seeker Worker card. The previous Seeker Workers get an extra activation before 2 more Seeker Workers are placed on the board. This is a very cool mechanic, and I'm glad they introduced something like this. So, they introduced with the Abominations, the Abomination gets an extra activation, and boom, you got to put the Abomination out. That's cool. So, it's a lot more pressure on you because with Zombicide, you get in a spot, they can't get to you. An extra activation, they move to you. But this, you got to worry about if these guys are on the board. If you got to put more of these guys down, they're going to get a turn, and then more. And there's a good amount of cards that are going in the deck. From the promo pack, there's 6, and then from here, I believe there's 8. So that's a lot of cards going in the deck, and there's a good amount of the guys. So that is going to be very interesting. Now the Siedel Moths, they share the same targeting priority as workers. Everything's 1 action, 1 damage to destroy, 1 XP. They cannot be eliminated with melee actions, so you have to range them. They move up to 3 zones per activation to reach their destination zone. Determine their zone before moving them. They move to get there and do not change course if a new target appears on their way. They still only get 1 activation, either moving or attacking. So they move 3 zones, kind of like the Wolves in Wolfenburg and Black Plague. So they get to move 3 zones and then, attack you. Now they cannot move, like if they're 1 zone away from you, they move into your zone and they stop. They don't attack you. So they can either move or attack. They cannot move to and then have an extra move and attack you. So that's very important. And also, if you are in a room and there are 2 minis in the room, 1 back, and then the most noise is 1 room behind them, they will go to the 1 room behind them because it's the 3 zones away and fly right past the two people. Because if there's more noise behind them, that's the zone it's going to target, because it's not going to have line of sight when it starts its move, because it's only can see within 1 room, so it's not going to have line of sight, so it will move past them. So that's a very good technique. You can use that to create noise, step out of the zone, and then they will fly right over top of you, and then you guys can get out of there. I mean, they're not that tough if you got a ranged weapon, but keeping them out of your square unless you have point blank or a 0 ranged weapon, and hopefully you don't get friendly fire. Point blank's not affected by that, but it's helpful. Now what also is in this is two new abominations that are machines. It is the Buddy Bot and the IRIS Sentry Gun. These are confusing, and I will talk more about these in a game. They are abominations. They come out and play when their card is drawn. But, excuse me, on the player's turns, the players can use them to attack Xenos, and on the Xenos' turn, they attack the players. The bonus to that is if you're in their square, they can't attack you. It can't attack anybody in its own square. So the Buddy Bot can move with you. The Sentry Gun cannot move with you, and you can't move it, but it can move on its own if it needs to acquire a target. And they perform a certain thing where it has two firing modes where when it shoots the Xenos, it's either 3 Xenos suffer 1 damage ranged attack or 1 Xenos suffers 3 damage ranged attack. There's no dice rolls. It just does that in the zone that if you're controlling it. If you're not controlling it, it will shoot you and do 3 damage, just like an abomination. So, and the same thing with the Buddy Bot, or like I call Crap Trap Jr. He will do the same thing. He will do Xenos suffers 1 damage at 3 Xenos suffer 1 damage at ranged attack, or 1 Xenos suffers 3 damage. So if you can get in his zone, or you get someone that controls the bots and keep these guys away from you, you can eliminate A-bombs and all this stuff, but eventually you're going to need to take these guys out because they will pack you up, especially if this Sentry Gun plants itself in a way and cuts you off from going anywhere and hunts you down on its turn, because on its turn it can move to come after you. What does it say? As an abomination item, whenever it activates within line of sight of any survivors at range 1 to 3, and then performs an attack dealing 3 zeros, distribute as you see fit. If several zeros chooses target priority. If Iris cannot attack survivors in its own zone. As an abomination, Iris never moves. However, if there are no survivors to attack when it gets an extra activation, so when it just draws its card again in an extra activation, it moves up the 3 zones to reach its destination. And again, you pick its destination before there, and it doesn't pick new targets. So, and then you have a Sentry Gun. You can shoot 1 to 3 if you can control it. So, there is a character in here. I'm just going to pop him out real quick. That if I play with those 2 bots, I'm going to start with him. It is this guy right here. And also you get some more runners and tanks. And then there's your 2 robots right there. Take that off. But this guy right here, I don't know his name, but he's in a wheelchair and he has guns. His blue skill is to control all bots. So, and he has some better skills leveling up. But this is the amount of characters you get in the Kickstarter. This is like, just by doing the Kickstarter, you got the Civilians Extra Pack. And there's even a Soldiers Extra Pack that we're going to talk about next. But this is the Civilian Extra Pack, and I just wanted to talk to you about that. And we'll talk about characters, because I'm going to get the stack of character cards out in a minute. And I want to let you know, I ordered this not from the Kickstarter. I know a guy who orders the Kickstarters, and he offered it to me at a great deal, and he normally is very reputable, but the way it arrived was most of the minis were not in the boxes. They were just, the boxes were opened, and they were everywhere. Luckily, nothing was damaged, and I didn't have to worry about that. Now, this game also introduces gangs like this Orphan Survivor gang. Basically comes with six heroes, and they have special rules. Like the Orphans gang, they all have the Unstoppable skill as an additional skill for blue level. But the Kabuki gang is cool because during setup, they each get to draw a free equipment card in player turn order, and then only equipment is kept, spawn cards are discovered and shuffled. But it's pretty cool because there's no rules saying that you have to use all 6 of these people. You can mix and match them. So I have a couple people from the Kabuki gang that I like, and I have a couple people from the Orphans gang that I like to mix in there. And I had 2 from the Orphans gang that I like, but I'm going to pull one of those out for the guy in the wheelchair. So, but that's how they work. There's also a Plague Gang pack where they have special rules. I don't have those. They're supposed to be very, very good, but like I said, that and the Dark Side extras I didn't get. So also with the main Kickstarter was the Soldier extras. You get another Abomination. I believe that's a spoiler Abomination. And then you get a Xenium Horror Abomination. Xeno Horror spawns 2 zones away from the noisiest zone on the board with an open route leaking both zones. If several zones are eligible, the player chooses. If no open route is available to the noise, discard the Xenos card and draw another. Put an active mode token in its spawning zone, not an exterior zone. So that would be this guy right here. This is the Xilium Horror guy. So that's cool. That's a little black ops. Kind of Xilium is what you use to blow things up. So another way to get mold on the board. And then this came with 4 heroes. A little Xeno Link guy, kind of like the Zombie Link. That's pretty cool. Like I said, we'll talk about heroes soon. So, and then you have a Brood Mother Abomination, which she spawns with 8 children. The Brood Mother spawns with her 8 brood children in its zone when it ends a move action within 2 zones or less from a survivor. No line of sight or open route is required. The brood children then perform a move action. Each Brood Mother Abomination may perform this special spawn only once. So basically, you get this Brood Mother out here. She just came right off her base. No, we'll deal with that later. So you spawn this, you're going to get these. They get to move as soon as they're dropped, so they're going to be 1 zone away. They share the same targeting priority as workers. They move up to 2 zones per activation to reach their destination zone. So they get a move action, so they get to move 2 zones, so they're going to be in your zone. They move to get there and don't change their course if a new target appears. They only get 1 action, so either moving or attacking. So if they move 2 spaces, they'll move into your space, but they won't attack you. They're not like hunters. So, and then again, the activation cards for these guys in the soldier pack. So 2 more abominations. So again, it's hard to believe with all those abominations I just talked about. Still not as many as Green Horde. So yeah. Now I just want to briefly go over some characters, and then we are going to wrap this up talking about this. And I am going to set up a game where I shuffle all this stuff together. I'm going to sleeve it all first, of course, and I'm going to shuffle it all together. And also my son, he's just turned 12. His birthday was a few days ago, and he said, what if we came up with a way to put the Green Horde Black Plague characters in the Invaders game and use their equipment and their people and spawn the Xenos against them? So I don't know, man. I'm coming up with something for that, just for some fun, just to see what happens. You know, you got like some kind of like teleportation glitch or something. These people get brought from the Dark Ages to space, and then they got their Dark Age equipment, and they gotta, kill everything. But everything, all the range weapons gonna work everywhere. So I don't know what they're gonna, still get prototype weapons, but you'll maybe have to shuffle in energy cells. I don't know. So we're gonna figure it out. May not even need that because there's a lot of 3 damage weapons. Instead of getting a prototype weapon, they get a vault weapon. So I don't know. It may be a viable option. It's just because you can still create, Dragonfire will be your Hellfire, and we'll also make it a seismic grenade just to make it fair. I think it would be fun. So here's some of the characters. I'm just going to talk about their if they have some crazy actions that are cool. Starting with one free melee action, but in the red zone she gets Reaper combat, and Reaper is you kill a worker mini, say, you get to remove an additional worker mini, 1 mini per action. So if you kill 4, you don't get to remove 4 more, you get to remove 5, but it has to be the same exact mini. So the same hunter or same difference like that. And then now we have some of the orphan gangs with the Unstoppable and 2 blue actions. Now she has orange, she can control all the robots. She'd be good to run with the Goliath character because she has Brother in Arms plus 1 die to range. So all ranged attacks would get an extra dice. And then she also has that in red zone, so you'd be adding 2 dice to, or plus 1 die to range rolls. So the BIA skills interest me because I think I found a broken chain with that. Free search action. You can control all robots. Point blank's good. You ignore friendly fire and you can shoot in your A. And then she has it with Brother in Arms. So anybody in her space can. Sorry, I should zoom in on this. I'm sorry about that. She can shoot. Anybody in her space can shoot point blank range with Brother in Arms. So he has 2 BIA actions, 1 in yellow, or 1 in orange and 1 in red. So Born Leader, I'm not a fan of. Reaper ranged in red. It's a long time for Reaper ranged. Enhanced senses, you can see in the dark, and you can trace line of sight 1 zone further. Charge, move, and attack in 1 action. Yeah. Combat reflexes, if a extra activation, or if something spawns in a mold zone or a pit zone, you get to immediately try to shoot it if you are in a line of sight or next to it. I believe it has to spawn next to you or in your zone. 0 to 1 range, basically. 0G run, you can move 2 spaces on a move action, once per activation, once per turn. Combat reflexes we talked about. Now she has remote control all in yellow orange, which is good, and she draws 2 search cards. It's a good way to get energy cells and get through that deck. Again, enhanced senses. He can remote control the bot, then the sentry gun. I feel that the sentry gun and the sentry gun is great in game, and the bot's great early game. But getting to orange and still needing the bot, a lot of times the bot's dead. So you need that control of that thing early. Again, point blank. Now this is who I've been using here, the wizard. She starts with remote control bot, and then in orange she gets the sentry gun. So this is one I've been starting with. Not going to be starting with her anymore. Have a better one. Now this guy right here gets +1 the die rolls melee, and in orange he gets super strength. So if you get something like the pit saw, which rolls 3 dice, hits on 3s, and does 3 damage, you're hitting on 2s, rolling 3 dice. Then if you get the Golden Dragon pistols, you're rolling 5 dice, hitting on 2s, doing 3 damage. And then if you get super strength, you can give that combination to somebody else, and then you can take a 1 damage weapon that rolls like 5 dice, hitting on 5s, you're hitting on 4s, but you're rolling 5 at 3 damage. One of my main characters I use. This guy has 1 free machine action. I was using him for a while because in orange he can control all the robots, but again, he's not going to be in my group anymore. Now, this guy, Salon, he can search 2 cards, and anybody in his zone can search 2 cards. I think this is broken, but he's in my group. Drake, auto repair. He has escalation range, which means if he stands in one spot, he can add a die to each ranged attack. It's good. I'd probably take the free ranged action if he was a ranged guy, but he was in my group, not anymore. Now, BIA Sniper, it's good to have a sniper. Full auto means you roll as many dice as there are Xenos in the zone that you're targeting, and then he can get a free ranged action, or a BIA free combat action. So this guy's pretty good. I'm gonna keep him still because he gets to start with the free equipment card, so I'm gonna keep that. Now we got one free machine action, nothing real great on this one. This is the Xenolink guy. Every time an extra activation is drawn, he gets to take a turn, not an action, an actual turn. He can end up with super strength. Melee, I don't remember what melee and predator do. And then here's my guy right here, Kilgore, Reaper ranged. So this will be one of my guys. He can get a free range action, and then he can get a free combat action, or if necessary, he can get Reaper melee. So there's 4. Then we have Massimo. Nothing. Allison, nothing new. Commander Amati, shove. You can push some guys one zone away. Getting combat reflexes, charge. Escalation range with Carlotta to start with, not bad. And then Cloud, you roll a 6, you get 1 extra dice. He gets full auto on orange, which, could be pretty good, and then he can re-roll it in red. We're going to put him up there just in case. Now, I haven't picked these characters previously. Some I know I like that I've already played with, but these are ones I'm picking right now. Commander Morton, no. Doc Dick, I don't know if that's supposed to be a Doc Brown reference or not. Everybody's action can take 1 first damage for free. So BIA tough, that's not bad. But 1 free move at 1 free combat, 1 damage in combat. That's a possibility. Here's the guy, Dr. Falconer. Remote control all. And then he gets 1 free machine action, and then he can get another free machine action. So this guy could just wreck the field with the machines. Turn 1, basically, he controls them. So, and then 4 actions, then 5 actions with machines, and then 6 actions with machines. So, definitely a keeper. So that's 5 guys. So, so we don't need anything to control the guns anymore. Dual expert, yeah, that's good. I'm kind of looking for an ambidextrous to start, because that's he can hold 2 weapons that aren't dual wield and dual wield them, which I think would be pretty good. Or another Reaper. Free move action. See, here's the Gavin Greaser. Ambidextrous, 1 action, 1 die, combat. With shotguns, that would be insane, hitting on 3+. So you could end up adding 2 die free. Yeah, he may be a valuable option. So we got Lucky. Yeah, another sniper. Die combat, free search action. See, controlling robots. Now here's a Reaper combat on first guy. Now what does this guy have? Let's compare these 2 guys. So he's got Reaper combat. I'm going to put this guy, Lieutenant G High, in there, because Reaper combat, no matter how I kill him, I get it. And then he can end up adding a die to melee, getting a free melee, or getting a free range and adding a die to range. So he can end up developing however I need him to. And if he's already just so OP, I can give him tough and he can take 1 hit. So I'm going to add him and take out Kilgore for the moment. Now, Preacher Carl, I see a lot of people playing with this guy because he starts with 6 enemy points, and on level 2 he can get Reaper ranged. So he's going to be a higher maybe possibility. And then he can get 1 free. He can get Ironclad Worker where workers ignore him, or Point Blank. Point Blank would be nice. if he goes ranged. We have Katie, Taunt. Now Lara +1 roll to dies in combat. That's pretty good. The later skills are not. Free search action. Later skills awful. Combat reflexes, remote control. Tough. 0G. Free melee. Another ambidextrous guy. I haven't picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 plus action, 1 die in combat, 1 free move action, super strength. So he's gonna go there. Only 2 health though. So 0G, another point blank, shove, free search action, 1 zone per move. Another 6 armor points, +1 die. See, he's gonna control the robots, unstoppable. Now this other guy, Preacher Carl, is better with point blank or free ranged action, that Reaper ranged. So robots again, shove, no, robot, and then Vivian, taunt. Okay, so we have, let's review what we have here. We have the robot guy, which is a definite keeper. We're keeping the robot guy. I really want the Reaper combat guy. So, and this guy with super strength on orange. So then we have these 4 left over here. So the 2 search card is broken, but it's worth having to. Plus he starts with a piece of equipment. So it's 4. Excuse me. My mouth's getting dry from this video. So Preacher Carl with the 6 hit points, the 6 armor, and getting Reaper ranged in orange is worth it. So there is 5. Now, do we take Sniper that everybody can use in their zone, or do we take this ambidextrous to possibly get a super strength, or possibly get full auto? I think ambidextrous 2 shotguns in early game is going to be insane. Plus adding a die to combat or getting a free move action, and then super strength. But then he has to switch to a melee weapon, but he can dual wield like Reaver swords or something like that. Like sledgehammers, or because it doesn't have to be a gun weapon, he can dual wield a melee weapon that's not dual wield. So now there's 6 guys. We're going to start with these 6 guys. And after I play through 4 or 5 missions of each group, I'm not going to play them all right now. I will play them all. It's a 6+ player game. You can have up to 12 people. I am going to add 2 more. 2 more to that. Yeah, these 2 are out. So, and that guy's out. So, on my next, when I play through with 8 characters and I only have to add 1 more spawn point for 8 characters, I am going to add these 2, Kilgore and Yamasuki. So let's take a look at them one more time, and then I'm going to end this video because it's 40-something minutes long. So we got Ook, Preacher Carl, Goliath, Lieutenant J-High, Dr. Falconer, and Salmon. So we got a robot guy, we got a searcher, we got a Reaper, we got an unstoppable combat guy, and then we have a high armor dude that's going to get Reaper ranged quickly. And then we got dual wield anything, get super strength in the end, and maybe do some cool combat, +1 die combat, so he can range it out. And free combat action, he can range it too, if necessary, if we don't need the super strength. Because remember, nobody can die, so if this guy will always be around to super strength people, but just in case, and I like to stick together, I'm not a big splitter upper, so if I have to, I will, but I'd rather play a longer game and not split up and just go into the red and just face the hordes. With the extra stuff, it's not too bad, and you know, you get the right equipment with the double search cards with, you know, these people. And the way I'm going to play it with all the equipment cards, you're going to start with 2 search drones. I have 2 military guys, so they're going to get the search drones. And I haven't decided on the starting equipment because there's a lot of it. I haven't got it all out yet, but when I start the game, I'll be sure to talk about the starting equipment. Now again, I'm picking everything for these first couple of games. I might film some of them or do a brief overview of them, just pop in and out and tell you what's going on, so that they're not 2-3 hour long videos of playthroughs, just to tell you how I'm getting along and show you what equipment they have gained so far and how I have them laid out and all that stuff, instead of a super long playthrough. So I'm going to cut this here, guys. Hey, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.